Queen, I'm so grateful to be back at your side to share these throat chakra messages from spirit to help empower you to really connect with your divinity, your individuality, your creative source, your self-expression. But that often we can put to the side out of conditioning from society, from relatives, from people that we know, love and trust. All of these different things can cause blocks in our truest expression of source energy, basically. And so that's really what I want to connect us all with in this reading, and I can't wait to share these messages with you. My name is Chloe and I'm here from Constellate, and I create tarot and astrology readings here on YouTube. Over here, we're all about expansion, self-actualization, and generally just spreading good vibes. So if you're into all of that stuff, then definitely hit that subscribe button so that you get to stay in tune when I post new videos. And now if you could take 3 deep breaths in and out. In and out, in and out. Amazing. So now that we're both connected to source energy, let's take some time to connect with your cards, choosing the pile that you feel the most connected with. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. And now if you can fast forwards to your timestamp, then we can get started with your reading. If you chose this tarot deck, then I'm not sensing that you necessarily have blocks in your throat chakra in terms of not communicating. I think you're a very expressive, communicative person. Maybe you're a Gemini or a Virgo or something like this, where you feel comfortable, you know, talking to people and expressing your gifts as well. So that's a super positive energy update to start this reading with. And I thought we'd just go into a few astrology dice here. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. So firstly, we have the 4th house in the reverse. So with your throat chakra, I feel like whilst you're very good at communicating, you might have trouble, you know, being alone and being in your own environment and feeling like you still have a stable sense of who you are. So I'm sensing that you may be very communicative, but this might be in order to establish a sense of self from the presence of others. So that might be something that you might want to think about. We also have Leo. So again, you are very independent, and I feel like you're very outspoken and your word is respected by others, people around you, which is really powerful. And I think that this is maybe allowing you to take up certain leadership positions in your life, or people trust you to kind of lead them because you're connected with your throat chakra in that way, in terms of expressing your messages and stuff. But then in terms of like inside the cave, you might not be so comfortable expressing yourself. And the last dice we have is the South Node in the reverse. So this may indicate that you struggle to reconnect with your home and your internal self without the validation of others. You may also struggle to connect with your home environment, your home life, your home friends, things like that. I think that you have a tendency to move on and sweep your past under the carpet and just start again, with the freedom to be anyone who you choose. Maybe for some reason you are kind of holding on to some feeling of wanting to move past your home life and your home identity. Maybe you feel emotions like embarrassment or feeling ashamed for who you have been or who you were in your life before, and so you feel like you want to create a new identity for yourself, who's this and that. But that may also be blocking your throat chakra because you're not identifying with like who you are at your core. And this could look like your heritage as well as, you know, your ancestors, or I'm not sure. I just feel like there's something within you that wants to connect with something in the future rather than or in the present, but not with the past. Okay, so let's look into this a little bit further. Okay, so a bunch of cards dropped onto the floor. I'm just going to pick this one, which is the 9 of Spring. So this card speaks about protecting the fruit of your labor and preparing for possible challenges that lie ahead. So I think with your throat chakra, you may feel like other people want to use your energy for reasons that you don't really want to use it for. So they might see that you're this amazing communicator and that you're good at all of this stuff, and then you might kind of like hide your identity and just like be so open to, you know, letting them use your identity rather than establishing like a firm foundation of who you are. And this could be holding you back in some ways, because I think that you kind of feel like you're always on edge. You're always, you know, having to defend yourself or defend your ideas, or just that, you know, I said you were very comfortable with expressing yourself to the people around you, but with the Nine of Spring, I see someone who is almost militant about having to express themselves or defend themselves. You also may speak about quite difficult topics to people, and this might come from your outlook of life having a series of difficult things. So maybe your subconscious expects difficult situations, so you're comfortable communicating a lot about difficult situations, but this may also be a failure to see some of the magical parts of life. So maybe you're communicating about these parts of life because that's what, like, all you know, whereas there's also loads of other beautiful parts of life that you're maybe not so familiar with conversating about. Is that the word? Conversing about. Okay, so let's look a little bit more into your throat chakra. Okay, so we have the card Warrior Woman in the reverse, which asks you, have you answered your deepest calling? So honestly, I'm sensing that your throat chakra is open to a point where, you know, I think that you are working, like within yourself, you're working on your deepest calling. But then in terms of kind of stepping out into the world and sharing this with others, you may be a little bit hesitant. Like, I think that you're mainly aware of your gifts and how you can share those, but when it comes to sharing about your life, even in your circle, you might feel a little bit like on edge, like you have to keep that to yourself or something like that. And I'm getting all of these hot flashes as well, so maybe you have some kind of anxiety when it comes to being perceived by other people outside of yourself. And I think that you have some beliefs that are maybe limiting your expression of your divinity. And with some shadow work, it would be pretty easy for you to kick some of these beliefs out, but maybe you haven't like expressed this, so it may be really good to maybe work on your identity and like feeling comfortable sharing yourself with other people. I don't know, like listening to this reading, do you feel like sometimes you can struggle to share yourself with other people even though you're accepted by them? Do you know what I mean? Let me know if that's something that you resonate with in the comments, please. I would love to connect with you more in this reading. Okay. So, the next card that we have is the Three of Spring. So immediately I'm sensing that you may be a fire sign. And right now, I don't think you're so much on the expressing side of your throat chakra, as you more about like gaining a sense of your identity. So maybe you've not been so vocal recently in expressing yourself, but all at the same time, I think you're coming to a place where you're realizing that you're not comfortable expressing yourself, and for that reason you're wanting to work on building more connection with your roots, your ancestors, yourself, your soul, your past lives, all of these things, so that when you step into a space, you're coming from a place of authenticity and radical self-acceptance, because I think that you may be having results in your life that were kind of showing you that you weren't embracing all of your identity, and now maybe you're beginning to work on that in your own time, like within yourself, which I think is such a powerful place for you to be. Okay. Let's see what else is there. So next up we have the Moon. So I think with your emotions, you kind of suppress these or put these in like a box, or you don't allow these to be fully acknowledged. And you have a very powerful subconscious, so these all exist in your subconscious and begin to manifest for you. And what is the throat chakra? It's all about open and honest and direct communication. But when you can't have that direct internal communication, for whatever reason, I don't think it's on purpose. I don't think you're trying not to connect with your throat chakra. But when you can't perceive your own emotions, that's when they begin to act for you. And then your throat chakra is perceived by other people as out of whack because you haven't because it is a little bit out of whack. Like I think your external throat chakra is fine. Your internal throat chakra may need some work, and that might come from you like beginning to work to accept yourself more and feel like you belong as well. I don't think you necessarily feel like you belong or you have a place, and maybe this South Node in reverse is talking about your family and your roots and your upbringing and stuff. I mean, I was mentioning emotions like shame and stuff earlier, but maybe it's not that deep. As you know, you're ashamed of your family, but I think there is something about your past that you maybe don't connect with as much as you. If you were completely embracing yourself, maybe you would connect with your family or your roots or your traditions or cultures or something a little bit more. Please just let this resonate for you how it does, because I'm speaking about the general energy, but there definitely is a need for you to embrace parts of yourself a little bit more. Okay, so let's move a little bit into the reading. So I haven't pulled this next card, but I'm already in love with it, because I think that when your throat chakra is open, you have a lot of power. Okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So you can literally, your words can change people's entire lives. Your words can free people from chains they've been stuck in for like millennia, maybe, in terms of past lives. Think about that power for a second. When your throat chakra is open, I think you're destined to change the world in some way. Perhaps you are really gifted with communication, and your words are like almost channeled, and you're designed to inspire other people to make radical changes in their life. Because when you're connected with your throat chakra, you are so highly connected with the truth. Maybe you're connected with Archangel Michael in some way as well, or just otherwise you really you cut through to the truth of the matter. You don't skirt around. And sometimes I feel like you can shy away from your throat chakra because you know how you can be, right? And you don't want to unsettle too many people. But baby, maybe that's your mission here in life, to unsettle people, not to be liked by everyone, but to allow for this Wheel of Fortune. I want to cry because I genuinely feel like you are transforming so many people's lives in little ways, and you don't even realize how much effect you can have on people through the words that you say and the choice of words that you use as well. And so that's a gift as well as a curse, because, you know, when you're not connected with your throat chakra, or to your emotions even, then you might be saying things that are very clearly representative of your emotions as well. And so that may cause people to spiral the other way. So I think for you, your throat chakra opens when you can connect more with your emotions and your truest feelings. And so I think something like just getting comfortable talking with yourself, you know, not talking to other people at all. Just, you know, say if there's a friend you want to talk to, but, you know, you haven't spoken to them in a while, or you're a bit nervous, just speak to them as if they were there in front of you. Or if there is like a mentor that you want to work with, or just someone that you want to, or, you know, a family member who was unsupportive of you and you don't speak anymore. I think this is just about you speaking into the universe, because I really do feel like everything is frequency, and their energy will be picked up by them, and maybe communication with them in the future will be easier because you would have come to terms with your true feelings about this. And I think that you just need to get to a place of closure. There's loads of places in your life, I think, where you felt like you haven't even attempted closure, because it's just a bit overwhelming to even think about what it would mean to dive into that. There's other places where you have worked through that, but I think for you, you would really benefit through, you know, shadow work in terms of your emotions and connecting with your emotions and truly feeling and accepting and recognizing your emotions, because I think that you've been shamed out of some of your emotions too. Okay, so let's get another card pulled. Oh, I'm not going to use that deck, that's for power 2. That is so powerful, and I really feel like you are like a movement generator in life in general, okay? And so usually, okay, we have the Devil here next. Your throat chakra might be quite cutting sometimes, especially to the people that you love and you care about. Like I say, you have the power to transform people's like perspectives and realities and things like this. But sometimes, you know, just even in the day-to-day life, I don't think you necessarily recognize just how much power that you have. So you speak from a disempowered place in an empowered way. Does that make sense? So you say things that are maybe representative of your low self, but you say them as your higher self would say them. And so people maybe are a bit like, see you as a threat or something, because you can be really honest and they can accurately sense how you feel about them. And so sometimes they may just want to stay away because they can't come to a place of like wanting to acknowledge those things always. So people may just in general not want to like follow you or spend more time around you. Girl, I hope this message is resonating. I don't want to be too like rude or anything, but I think with the devil, you may be pushing people away because you kind of, your job is to help the shadow part of people to awaken and to like rise. I think that's the vibe I'm getting. But sometimes you have that desire, but you don't express it in the most loving way, as if, you know, that's the person that you cherish. It's more like there's a demon inside of you that I need to help raise out of your body, and people necessarily don't react well to that. So I think that for you, opening your throat chakra is making that transition from just wanting to help people to heal and like elevate, to doing that with love, to doing that with appreciation and care for the people around you. And why don't you you know, appreciate that part of people as well, that we're all on our own journey and that we all are going through our own difficult times. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but it may be useful for you to like look into that. Why, I don't feel like you're a judgmental person, but you definitely do judge people as they present, and people are a bit nervous, I think, about that. And maybe in your career, this is or in your job, this is like respected. In terms of friendships, people might be struggling to connect with you because of this, because they want to just be seen as a person rather than someone who needs like help all the time. Just saying. Okay, so moving a little bit more into the reading, I think that this has caused you to block your throat chakra in the past, though, because people haven't reacted well to like your words and what you've spoken. And the next card that we have is the Ten of Autumn, which advises you to, you know, make wise investments on a family tradition. So I think when your throat chakra is blocked, this can look like you succumbing to the pressure of, you know, a group or an organization or just a larger body, and kind of basing your identity on that. Because from the beginning, I was getting the image that you can sometimes use things outside of yourself to kind of use as a reflection, like a mirror. Oh, that's who I am because I'm doing this thing every day. But maybe the within part of yourself, you may struggle a little bit more to connect with that part of yourself, okay? And so you might just throw yourself into work or into all of these tasks and dull your creativity, dull your creative flow, and dull saying exactly what it is that you want to say. Maybe you might be quite formulaic, or be really focused on success or validation as a sign that you are actually achieving and doing well, when we know that that's not the case, okay? Next up, we have the Three of Winter, and channeling my interpretation of this card from a very honest and raw place, I feel like you feel like people are disgusted by you. You feel like you have something that is unique, but in a way that no one wants to see. You feel like you're not enough, and you just have all of these ideas about, you know, how people see you. And these are, I believe, formed from an earlier time point in life, but it's also reflected in your current reality because of the fact that we can only expect what we know. We can't expect something that we don't know. It's like how we can't make up faces in our mind, right? We make up the kind of things that people will think about us based on what people have thought about us in the past. And we all know that we can't choose our home environment. And so for you, I think it's about being more open about your sad feelings with yourself, with other people, with family members, maybe even with a therapist, because this card says to reach out to others for comfort and love. I think that your throat chakra is connected with your heart chakra as well. So your heart chakra doesn't want to get hurt. So I believe that it's can stay open by closing your throat chakra. Maybe they're related. So maybe as your heart chakra closes, your throat chakra opens, so you become super analytical and objective and are able to communicate about all of these things because it's not coming from a place of like, I love you and I want to tell you this because I love you. And then on the other side, sometimes your throat chakra may close whilst your heart chakra opens. So when you're talking to people that you really love or stuff, you might feel like you can't really express your identity or your true self because they might judge you or think that blah, 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 blah. Maybe maybe in the past, going back to what I was saying, you may have had experiences where with the people that you love, so your heart chakra was open, you couldn't express your identity, and maybe you found a way to act from a place of like not love and be able to really fluently like communicate. So maybe this is in an environment like a school or somewhere where you're not loved by the people around you, but you can say something that they want to hear, and then you will get some kind of attention or praise or something like this. So those are the main messages that I'm picking up for you so far. And let's just dive into a little bit more about this open throat chakra that I spoke of, and like transforming people's lives and stuff. So with this card, the Six of Winter, this advises you to kind of see the good things about life. So earlier I was saying that maybe you have a tendency to kind of like spot the negative, or if it's not spotting the negative, to kind of help to communicate about some of the negative aspects of life, because maybe you don't have positive not aspirations, but positive like thoughts about the future. So I'm gonna let that sink in, and you can see if that resonates for you. I'm not saying that you're not a positive person, nothing like that, but I'm saying that maybe you find it difficult to see how things are going to go well for a person, and so you kind of communicate about how to make the bad things turn better. But I think that you might need some renewed faith, hope and optimism to be able to see these good things that are happening for people, and then maybe you can mentor them on how to get to a good place rather than on how to turn around a bad place. Does that make sense? Because people will just feel better that way. It like achieves the same thing, but it helps people feel a little bit happier inside and warm and welcome. So this card also talks about traveling, so maybe just getting out more, meeting new people, that kind of thing could be good, because I don't think you're going to be talking to any person about their shadow aspects and stuff. You're probably just going to be like, oh, I like listening to you, that's cool. So that could be good. But just in general, I think just more, I don't know, I just feel like you're really needing some invigoration to feel like you know why you're expressing your truth, like you know why it's important, and more optimism in terms of how people will like see you and appreciate you. And so I think that's a journey that you're currently going on. I'm going to pull one more card. Let me use this deck because it's your deck. How can you feel more optimistic about yourself? Okay, we have the 10 of Summer, which speaks about an emotionally fulfilling life with family or friends and people that you can trust. So I think that you need to talk with your family more. The people who love you and will always love you, just communicate with them often, because you might see parts of yourself there and remember like why you are the way that you are and feel more comfortable. And if your family say something that's like something that you would say, you might notice that when you say it, you think people will judge you, and when your family say it, you're like, oh my god, that's so cute, blah 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 blah. This could also look like talking to friends from your past as well. And I'm feeling like there's one more message in here for you. Oh, so New Moon in Libra, this speaks about a new relationship. So maybe there's a new relationship or friendship coming in, maybe with someone who you previously had a little bit more chaos with, and this relationship is going to help you to remember who you are, to remember your divinity and why it is that you're so fucking amazing and fabulous, and why your voice deserves to be healed. So that is a beautiful message to end this reading on, and I'm so grateful to have shared these messages with you as well. I hope this reading really resonated with you, and if it does, please leave a little comment about how you connect with your throat chakra just in general, and how you feel about your voice and your expression. Do you feel usually like your voice is deserving of being heard? It's quite a deep question, but I would love to explore this with you as well. So I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, and I cannot wait to see you in my next reading. Bye my love. Hey my love, I am so grateful to be connecting with you. If you chose pile number 2, immediately I'm sensing like you might feel like you have trouble being seen. So maybe you are okay, communicating with your friends, your family, things like that. But by people, outside of your circle, you may feel like low confidence or low self-esteem, like they won't be able to see you for who you are, and that I feel like you feel like you're a carbon copy or something, or that you're not individual enough, that you're not special enough, or something like that. Let's move a little bit more into your astral guys. Okay, we have the sun, which I think is about, our ego and our identity. And so I feel like you feel one benefit of your throat chakra is that you feel strongly in your identity, in who you are, what you represent, what you like, all of these different things. You don't really have to question about things like that because you know who you are, you know like who other people are. You are maybe quite good at, like, I don't want to say like a closed crown chakra, but maybe you're very good at seeing the distinction between different like individuals, as well as how we can work together in different ways based on like our gifts and stuff like that. Like you see what makes everybody unique and individual and stuff like that. We also have Taurus in the reverse, so I think that Taurus energy is just about, working really hard to a cause, maybe giving a lot of your effort to something, and yeah, like seeing the rewards of it, like on a material scale, but maybe not getting that attention that you're after in terms of, like, maybe in your kind of home environment, your friendship circles, like I said, you feel like you fit in, it makes sense. But when you move into a new space or with a certain type of people who you actually do want to be surrounded by, you might feel like, what the fuck would they want to have to do with me, which is not the case, it's not true. But this is how you're feeling, I think. And with the 7th house in the reverse, this could also be affecting your relationships, because I feel like there's a part of you that feels like you're settling in your relationships for people who are like you, maybe more ordinary in some parts. Well, I don't want to say that you're more ordinary, but you see them as ordinary, so you're like, oh, well, like, they're kind of boring, I'm boring, we can be friends, but really you're not boring. And I think you're doing yourself and also them a disservice by thinking about them this way, because it's like they have their own unique gifts and interests and stuff, and I'm sure you know that because they're your friends or your partners or whoever. But I think just in terms of your throat chakra, it may be useful for you to go out and explore new people and like prove to yourself that you aren't boring, that you are special, that you are unique. And like, if there are people that you like, it's maybe because you were made to be friends with them. So if you like a certain topic, or doing a certain type of thing with your friends, that's okay. It's because you're meant to do that thing with your friends and you're meant to like that thing. But you might be saying like, oh, like, no one in my circle gets me and this side of me, so I just do it by myself, don't really talk about it. But maybe it could feel really validating for you to have a group of people that you could talk about this with. Okay, so moving into your tarot messages now. So we have the firm foundation card. So we have quite a lot of like fixed, firm, solid energy so far. And so I think that you connect with your throat chakra by using your skills, your gifts, your voice to kind of share your perspective in a community. So in a friendship group, you might feel really comfortable like sharing your opinion, or in a business setting or a work environment, you might feel comfortable sharing your ideas or your points about things, and not really expecting validation, because you more feel like you are part of the collective. Like, by that I mean that you are part of like consciousness, and everyone has their own gifts and stuff. So I don't think for that reason that you have like a super duper big ego, but I think that within yourself you do have a healthy self-esteem. So that is something really positive, I think, about your throat chakra, just to begin this reading. Let's look into, like, is your throat chakra mostly closed or is it open? Okay, I think with your throat chakra, it's mostly closed, or mostly open around the people that you love, and that you're just very comfortable like sharing yourself with your friends. Maybe you're really into like messaging back really fast, or tweeting, or just something like that, where you can communicate without any like overthinking it and second guessing yourself. But then it's when you encounter a certain type of person that you can become a little bit more closed off. Okay, and that kind of person, they may represent an archetype of someone who in the past did something that you want to do, or that you wanted to do, and maybe they were just a bit unpleasant, unsavory. Maybe this could have looked something like bullying or something by a group that you really wanted to be a part of, something like that. So now you're not sure where you stand when it comes to these girls or this group of people who maybe you're wanting to know more about, or this could just be like a friend that you're dreaming about having or something like that. I just think there's a desire to connect to people who are a little bit more unique, but also not to devalue the people that you have in your life that are more traditional. Okay, because that's something I think you may be doing a little bit, but that's because you don't have these unique people around you. If you had both sides, maybe it would be easier to balance and stuff like that. Okay, so let's just move a little bit into your journey. So this is the 4, this is the 6. Okay, so let's move into the Moonology Oracle deck. Wow, okay, so we have another card for the new moon in Leo, which says that confidence is your key to success. So you might be currently working on building your confidence. Maybe this is in a professional environment, because we have, maybe you're firstly a fixed sign, such as a Taurus, a Leo, an Aquarius, or a Scorpio, okay? Or I'm definitely sensing Leo, Taurus. Okay, and so I think for that reason, you're working steadily on building your confidence in yourself. So maybe this is getting into higher paid positions, or positions where you have more responsibilities, or you're seen as an authority or something. And that's really good for you, because everyone around you is also the authority, so you don't get that massive like ego trip that you could get if you were the only one doing that thing, because you look around and you're like, well, I'm also surrounded by so many amazing people, but I'm also able to develop my confidence in myself. So maybe this is something like studying quite a competitive course, or you know, maybe you've just started a new job where you're around a lot of people, where you're building up your confidence in yourself and your abilities. Basically, you're doing something that's a bit more challenging maybe than the things that you've done in the past as well. Okay, moving a little bit more into the reading. Here we have the 6 of Cups. So again, I think that you may be either in your childhood home, or surrounded by a lot of your childhood friends, or I'm not sure. I just feel like you're really kind of looking back rather than into the future when it comes to your friends. I'm not saying to drop your friends, by the way, but this message has come up a few times where you might feel like, I feel like you feel like a goddess when you're with your family and with your friends and stuff. Like, they really look up to you, worship you, all those things. And then when you step out, you don't feel like you're so respected, or you feel like you have to earn their respect, when it's like they will literally just give it to you because you're an amazing person, but you feel like you have to compete to earn their respect. And so for that reason, that might be blocking your throat chakra by keeping yourself in this circle of friends. So again, I'm not saying leaving your circle of friends, but maybe just connecting with people who are a little bit more eccentric, a bit different, things like this, who do things that you want to do as well. Like, what do you want to do? Do you know anyone in your circle currently who does the same? Or is there somewhere you can go to meet someone who's into this kind of thing? I think that for you, I'm sensing that there's a hobby, an interest that you have, and you don't connect to many people who do that thing, and it would be really good for you to just like embrace that side of yourself and feel accepted. And for some of you, this will make you feel more sexy as well. I'm clueless about what this thing that you're wanting to do is, but for some of you, this will make you feel more sexy, being around this group of powerful women. For some of you, powerful witches, like maybe that's the thing. Like, maybe your family has a more traditional approach to things like this, and you're quite magical and into all of these different things, and you explain it to them and they look at you like you're crazy. And so if that's the case, then the collective is going to be perfect for you, because that's literally what I designed it for people to connect with like-minded souls around the world who want to spiritually expand together. So definitely check out the link in my bio. Okay, so moving on into this reading. Okay, so when your throat chakra is open, when you feel like you are completely comfortable with expressing yourself, you might be the kind of person who doesn't say much at all. But when they do, it's gold, and you're moving from a place where you're completely uninhibited, you're completely powerful. Maybe you've spent lifetimes in the past as some kind of spiritual teacher, or just teacher in general, where your words were really paid attention to, so people listen to you when you speak. When you're in an empowered place with your throat chakra, people really like to hang on to your every word. But that's because you're talking a lot of meaning, and they can sense that. Even in your vibration, the way you stand, the way that you approach life, they can tell that you're very powerful with the words that you choose and what you choose to say as well. And so people see you as quite meditative or reflective or calming or grounding, if people have said that to you. And I think with your throat chakra right now, you're using this in your career or to help you along your life path in some way. So maybe through communicating, you're able to write good essays or journals or reports, or to give really good meetings or team summaries. I just think in general that you're using your throat chakra to communicate about issues that are topical, that are important to you, all of those things. And for that reason, you're able to express yourself, because those things that are important to you are an expression of yourself. And so you're heavily along your life path, I think, when it comes to your throat chakra, which is such a powerful place to be. And let's just pull a few cards about what your throat chakra might look like when you're blocked. So you might kind of, when you feel like you can't express yourself, you might just kind of up and leave something. So this could look like, you know, spontaneously going traveling because you feel like you aren't sure who you are, or wanting to change your circle of friends because you don't feel like they get you, or wanting to go to another country because you feel like you're understood there, or something like this. I feel like when you're not understood, you have this pull to move towards a place where you are understood. With the 7 of Cups, the word I'm hearing in my head is therapy. So maybe for some of you, it could be really useful to get some kind of therapy that can help to identify why you're not always comfortable expressing. Okay, I've got it. I think that when you're outside of your immediate circle, you feel like they're going to judge you and think you're boring because of your immediate circle. And when you're inside of your immediate circle, sometimes you might feel like they're going to judge you and feel like you're too extroverted or out there or kooky or just weird or like not enough or something. And so there's this conflict between you where it's like you don't know who you are. You care about both groups of people, both groups of yourself, but you struggle to connect like the full picture together for that reason. Maybe therapy isn't the solution for all of you, but even just journaling about this can help a lot as well, like where it came from and things that reinforce this feeling within you. Just exploring it and opening the door could be a really useful gateway for you to be more comfortable expressing yourself and expressing your throat chakra, okay? And I feel like when you're in this place where you're very wise, you're very meditative, and that's when you feel maybe comfortable expressing yourself, I think that this comes as you are divinely connected to the universe. And when your throat chakra is open, the universe is like, oh my god, that's the perfect person I would love to flow through to deliver these on point and accurate messages. And not messages as in like tarot messages, but just like words. Maybe some people need like a voice of support or advice, and you're able to be that for them, that grounding presence, because you're so comfortable in your throat chakra. And so I think that is so beautiful. But at the same time, you may feel like you somehow give up some of your identity in order to do that. So you kind of, I feel like sometimes you give really good advice, and to do this, your personality takes a back seat and you let just whatever come to you and just flow out of you. Hopefully that resonates with you. Like, let me know in the comments if you feel like sometimes when you're speaking to people and you give really good advice, it's because you yourself, you're taking a backseat from them. So if that resonates, then the universe card is also prompting you to feel more comfortable in the fact that you are connected with the universe, rather than, you know, if you take a step back, you can give amazing advice. Remember that you are that amazing advice that you give. So those are all of the messages I have to share with you, and I hope that you're having a beautiful day. Bye, my love. Hey there, my love. I'm so grateful to be connecting with you in this reading where we're going to explore the throat chakra. Just in general, I feel like you just have a super easygoing energy. Like with the throat chakra, this can often manifest in us being unable to speak our voice. I'm seeing you as the kind of person that can just speak to anyone. Sometimes maybe you do choose to withhold your voice. We'll go into that in the reading, but immediately I just see you as a really like happy-go-lucky kind of person who can talk to anyone. And so let's dive a little bit into your astro dice, okay? So firstly we have Pisces. I was immediately sensing that you could be a Pisces or just a mutable sign, so that's a Virgo, a Sagittarius, a Gemini, a Pisces, one of those where you feel comfortable with just like exchanging things like information without it having to mean like, oh my god, like, this is my new best friend, or this is like my new partner. Like, I think you're comfortable just like chatting with people for the sake of just getting to know them, which I think is so beautiful and a strength of your throat chakra, definitely. Oh, there we go. We also have the 9th house, so you might be involved in some kind of study or something that is to do with you expressing your voice, or you might in general like to go traveling to different places in order to learn about different cultures, and I feel like you like to feel at home in different cultures as well. So this could look like going on vacations to like different places or something like that, where you kind of go to a new place and you still feel at home there, which I think is so beautiful. And last up we have the Sun. So I think this is talking about your ego. You might have like a massive brain and as a result a massive ego. So you might feel like you can do a million things and that you are just amazing at everything that you do. But then when it comes to sharing your work that you do, you might be a little bit more nervous about that, and not want to express it, because then you're no longer just like happy-go-lucky, easygoing, like girl next door. Then you're someone who is going to be observed and watched by them, and you don't really want that for yourself. I feel like you like to like blend in a little bit more. But let's just move into your reading. I chose this deck, the Super Attractor Oracle deck, which is full of positive affirmations, and I can't wait to share these messages now that we've got the tarot cards involved, because I have been channeling so far in this reading. So the first card we have is quite lengthy, oh my god, so maybe you guys have a lot to say. Maybe you're like a young poet, like literally, maybe you're a young Shakespeare out here. Maybe that's how you feel, like you feel like your words are so deep or so brilliant and blah blah blah, and you want everyone to listen to every word that you have to say. Like maybe you're literally a rapper or a spoken artist or something like this, where you communicate through your career or your profession or your study, whatever it is. Maybe you have this feeling like, I need someone to dedicate 3 hours to listening to my 10-second track or something like that. And then when they don't pay you that attention, maybe you can get hurt and feel like, oh, that's proof that I'm a failure, that nothing's gonna come of this, stuff like that. And that's just not the case, okay? So I'm gonna read this thing now. I really wanted to move on. I thought if I pulled the card, I would just be able to move on and not read it. I'm gonna read it. Fucking hell. Okay, I'll get it up to the camera so you can read it. Can you read it? I really don't want to read this. When I live and act from a place of spiritual alignment, I can trust that everything is working out for me, even if I don't know when or how it will happen. When I live and act from a place of spiritual alignment, I can trust that everything is working out for me, even if I don't know when or how it will happen. So maybe that's how you feel, okay? That when you're making this music or producing this like written or maybe even visual art, just something that helps you express your creativity on paper, when you're doing this, I feel like you don't feel like everyone has to see immediately. Like you do it for the intention for it to spread eventually, and you kind of just trust in everything. I'm not gonna lie, like part of you might just be trusting in everything, thinking, oh, like in 5 years I'll just know. I'll know when it's the right time. I think for you the right time is when you learn to combat your anxiety. Maybe that will take 5 years, but maybe you could go and like work on your anxiety today and feel more comfortable in like publishing your work or getting it out there as well, and feeling inspired to share your work as well. I think that that's what's more going to be the key for this working out, because I think right now you feel like, you know, you've got all of this amazing work but you have to keep it hidden and it's not good enough and blah 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 blah. And you know, if someone's listening to your track, you want them to like give it the full attention that it deserves. But I think just giving less of a fuck about what people say and knowing that you are in your place, like your zone of creative genius, when you're able to create, and so that's enough. Like people don't have to like love it for it to be good. Like There's so many people who are like breakthrough artists and millionaires and have all of these plays. I would never fucking listen to their music. If they let my little fucking opinion deter them from doing what they love, I wouldn't know them. I wouldn't even know them enough to dislike their music because I just wouldn't know them. So they had to fight against so many people like me. Every successful person has to come up against people exactly like me who aren't going to like what you do, who are going to criticize your work and still say, fair enough. Like, if this person doesn't like it, then the person who does like it must be the opposite to them. So let me just step away from you now and go find that person who does like it. Do you know what I mean? Just having that confidence in yourself rather than, I think you just pitch your ideas out to whoever's around you and maybe they're busy or whatever, so they're not able to give it the full appreciation it deserves. Doesn't mean that it doesn't deserve appreciation. And also you can get on your ego a bit and be like, why have they not like already written a reply song to this song that I played them? Like, okay, I'm being a bit dramatic, but do you know what I mean? Like, why haven't they like written a journal article in Forbes magazine about how my song is so good? It's like they don't have to do that. They can just like appreciate it and be like, oh, good job whoever you are, and then like just move on. And you can trust in yourself. I feel like that's the place that you're getting to, where you trust in yourself. And so, time for a very honest message with the full coming up next, which is that I feel like your throat chakra is very open when you don't feel like you have that much to say. When you're just like chatting about things, you can go for hours. You have no problem just chatting about, I don't say chatting about nothing, but chatting about things that aren't important to you. The more important things become to you, the more you close off. And you might be saying like, well, everyone is like that. No, I am not like that. I am so bad at small talk, unless we're talking about like the meaning of the universe and like our career goals and shit like that. I'm not going to be able to have that conversation. Whereas for you, I feel like you can talk with people really easily, but as soon as it becomes important to you, you can close off. Maybe your ego can get involved as well, and you can begin to like exaggerate your progress or your talents in order to make to appeal to the person that you're speaking to, for instance. Okay. So when it comes to what may be helping your throat chakra, this card fell out, and so there's two cards here, but I'm just going to go with the one that's the first one, which is the Wheel in the reverse. So maybe you're not making too many sudden breaks or transitions, or I feel like it's not like you're looking at what's in front of you like, oh my god, I need to change everything and start again and blah 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 blah. It's more like you're focused on gradually building up and making what you need into a reality and owning the domain that you have, owning the space that you have. Some of you with the Nothing Will Come of the Situation card, I'm feeling like maybe this goal that you have is a bit too ambitious, and so that's why you keep delaying it. So if you do not want the real truth from spirit about what I'm feeling, you don't have to accept this as Bible on your life, but this is how I'm feeling, is that you have set your sights to 1 million, and maybe you can achieve 100, and you keep pushing away opportunities for 100, which will eventually get you to 1,000, which could eventually get you to 1 million, but you can't get from 0 to 1 million. But I think that that's what you're wanting to do. You're wanting to delay the journey. And I think that that's because maybe you're needing to work on your ego a little bit more, because I think you're convincing yourself that you can change the whole world with this thing and that everyone's going to listen and everyone will pay attention. And it's not that they won't. And I always think affirmations and having a good self-esteem and self-regard is always a good thing. So it's not like you should give up on your dreams, but I think that you are not being realistic about this dream of yours, and you're not setting realistic goals or landmarks. And for a lot of you, I feel like if you started this 2 years ago, the progress that you would have made by now would actually shock you. It's that kind of thing that you would not believe where you would be able to get if you just made progress towards 100 2 years ago. So this says you don't have to fear your fear. You can use it as a way to get closer to love. And so I'm thinking that the main thing that's blocking you from making progress with your throat chakra may be that you're quite hesitant to share your voice because of the fear of what could happen, fear that you'll be laughed at, fear that blah, 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 blah. I think it would be more useful, like I say, if they're in a group, there's like one person that likes your music and there's 9 that don't, or if it's not music, then like whatever it is. Like maybe just focus on that one person, and over time work to improve your branding so that it appeals to that one person, not so that you change yourself to appeal to those 9 people. You know, because those 9 people are just sheep at the end of the day. Mostly the reason why there's 9 of them is probably because they're following each other. Maybe there was only one at the beginning, and then that one influenced the others to be like, oh, this isn't what I like, or this isn't so good, or we should listen to pop music, whatever it is. And so don't feel like that those 9 are representative of your success forever. Instead, use that fear to get closer to love. So work out who does appreciate what you do and do it for them as well, okay? So let's pull a few more cards now. Okay, so with the Strength card, I feel like when your throat chakra is open, you really feel like everything that you've experienced in your life has made you into a really courageous person, and it's given you a tremendous strength and wisdom and ability to just cut through the bullshit. I think a lot of people, like, maybe in life do not have this same keen, sharp sense of observation and skill as you do, that has developed from maybe living a more traumatic life in some ways. Maybe I'm seeing a lot of you guys might be like masculine and have like a wounded masculine in some way, however that resonates with you. But just in your general life, I think that when you're not kind of using your strength that you've had from your difficult life experiences to kind of shed wisdom on people, or shed the kind of knowledge you can only get from someone who's been through something. Do you know what I mean? I think you have that knowledge, which is really powerful. But with the bodywork card, I think that when you don't feel comfortable sharing your journey with other people, maybe you find ways to make this expression of your identity more physical. So this could be through working out or exercising, or through like some kind of sport. I think that you can express your identity through physical ways. So this could even be gaming. And by expressing your identity, I feel like this is just talking about like connecting with yourself. Like the ways that you connect with yourself and express your voice as well could be through things that require you to take something and make it quite physical. Or this could be in terms of like making a product, like doing art, or making your music, as we said. Maybe even making clothing, or like maybe you have a t-shirt line or something. I'm not sure, but I feel like you can use this platform to express your identity however this fits for you, okay? When your throat chakra is a little bit more closed, the card that we have says that instead of worrying about the future, all is well when you're aligned in the moment. So I think that when your throat chakra is a little bit more closed, you fear the future and you cut yourself off from the future, and you just think about the present moment. And you can kind of maybe hinder your success this way, because then you're not investing in your dreams or what you want to happen. You're more investing in what is in front of you right now, because then that's not so scary anymore. Maybe it's scary to think about yourself in the future for some reason for you. And so this, when you feel like you're not comfortable expressing yourself, this is the state that you may fall into. But let's get one more card of support along this journey. It says, I believe I'm worthy of feeling good. So maybe even if you get into this space where you don't want to think of the future, your throat chakra is closed. Okay, that's okay, you don't want to think about the future. But what right now would make you feel good? Hint, it's probably something you want to gain in the future. Like I said, if you eventually want to be playing out sold out shows, that's a feeling that your work is valuable. So how can you give yourself that right now? Because you wanting that in the future means that somehow you're lacking that in the present, or you think that you're lacking that in the present. Okay, so you can do the emotional work to say, what trauma have I been to blah, 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 make me this way. Or you can just create that thing that you're wanting. So you have two options with connecting with your throat chakra even more, but I really hope this reading resonated with you and was helpful in helping you to identify the strengths as well as blocks in your throat chakra, and how you can work to bring more energy and power and natural expression and invigoration to this magical chakra as well. And I would also advise you to Google Archangel Michael if you feel like in your life you're having problems with connecting with your throat chakra, as I believe that Archangel Michael would love to help you, even if through a short 5-minute visualization or meditation where you connect with them. I really trust that they have some words for you of advice if this message has resonated so far. So yeah, that's everything I think, and I cannot wait to see you in my next reading, you beautiful soul.